Hello everybody and welcome to a video where I'm going to be going over how to set up Pterodactyl Panel on Oracle Cloud, as this will allow you to have a 24/7 Minecraft server for free, with a nice panel over the top to use it. This is the second of the two panels that I've shown on this channel. The first one was Puffer Panel. This one is a lot more intensive, so it requires a lot more to get it set up, but it is a lot more features and is generally better. So I'm going to go through some of the features that it's got with you now. So obviously you can have lots of different servers, there's lots of different accounts, you can control what different users can access different things, you can control all of this different stuff to affect whether or not they can control different things. Obviously you can see your console, CPU load, memory load, and also the network usage, so how much is going in and out. And then you've got here, as well as the graphs here, you've also got it as actual numbers just here to tell it to you a bit more precisely. And then obviously you've got start, restart and stop commands. So that's it for the console. Then we go into files, then obviously you can go in and you can edit any of your files on here. You can you can upload any files that you want. You can create new folders, new files directly on here, and it's really simple like that. You can also, for this, you can set up databases. We won't be doing that in this video, that's outside the scope of this, but there are plenty of tutorials online for how to set up databases for Pterodactyl. You can also schedule different things. This is a built-in backup feature, Pterodactyl does, and you can schedule it to regularly do that at, every hour, every day, week, all that kind of stuff. You can have it restart, you can have it stop, so you can do all sorts of different things. As I already mentioned, you can have different users and backups, which are stored here. You can view all sorts of information about the server address, port. If you add, you can have several different ports and addresses people can connect from. You can change startup commands, what the jar file's called, if you want to change that, what version it runs on, and then there's also, you can use FileZilla to access, or another program like that to access your files, which is useful if you're doing big folders or files, that kind of thing. You can change any of the details, and then there's also a log of all the different actions that are carried out throughout by the server, or by anyone accessing the server. So if we then go into the admin settings, that was the basic settings just for that server. Now there's the admin settings. It says overview, which just, you can support it because it's an open source project, but you can change all sorts of stuff. So you could change what's up here, language, if you require two-factor authentication, because this does support that. You can set up a mail server, which we won't be doing in this, but you can set it up so that it will send emails to people who have accounts if something goes wrong, if the server stops, that kind of thing, to keep them updated. And then there's also when signing in, to stop people from being able to try and sign in your account by just brute force. You can use captcha, and as you've noticed, you can support HTTP, but it's not recommended. It by default has HTTPS as the supported protocol. So yeah, there's a lot of features, as I said. There's API keys. A lot of this is beyond what we're going to do in this video, but you can set it up if you want. Again, databases, we're not covering that. Locations, so you can have lots of different locations, and then in those locations you can have lots of different nodes for each server. Again, we're only going to be setting up one server and one node and one location. So we're not going to go too much into that, but I will show you how to do it if you want to do more. Then you can have a list of all your different servers. You can, again, create lots of users, and then you can import eggs, because there's loads and loads of eggs, which are just how the server is run. So if we go into Minecraft, there's all these is by default, but you can import loads of different ones, and that's most of the stuff. Obviously, if we go into here, there's more settings for the server, so you can change the name of it, amount of RAM it's got, CPU limit, disk space, the port, the startup command, all of that kind of stuff, databases, mounts, all the same kind of stuff. So there is an awful lot of features in Pterodactyl. I'd say most of them are kind of beyond the scope of what I'm going to show you how to set up, but there's plenty of documentation and videos out there if you would like to figure out how to do it for yourself. So something worth considering for this is, as you've noticed up here, instead of it just being an IP address, it is an actual domain name of hpcrafter.uk. That is required for this. It's not technically required, but in this video I'm not going to be showing you any of the workarounds or anything, so you'll have to figure that out for yourself if you just want to do it with an IP address. There is, I've done a video showing how to get a free domain name, and there are plenty of other tutorials available online if the one that I've shown doesn't work, because for some people it doesn't. But you should be able to get a domain name for free online, and then that will allow you to do this. Also in this video we're going to be showing you how to set up the panel on one server and then have your Minecraft server on a different one, because obviously in Oracle you get 2 less powerful servers on one powerful server, so you might as well have your Minecraft server on the powerful one and the panel on one of the less powerful ones, because then that means you haven't got the overhead of the panel running, which takes away resources from your Minecraft server. If you don't want to set them up on separate servers, then you can, and you just set everything up on the one. So you can follow the tutorial exactly the same, just when I say, you know, do it on the panel server or do it on the wings server, just do it all on the same server and just do it one after the other. So without further ado, I think it's time we get started. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to set up your 2 VMs. Now if you're only doing 1 VM, then you can just follow the tutorial on how to set up one of those, which is linked down below. However, if you're doing it with the 2 servers, then you'll need to follow one, which is how to set up the more powerful server, which is in the video that is linked down below. And then you'll need to follow this tiny little change. We leave the placement all the same, security all the same, the image the same, so still Ubuntu 20.4, however the shape, when you're going to change shape, instead of choosing Ampere, you choose specialty in previous generation, and then that one, and then select shape. That's the only change you make. So you do the same with the networking, download your SSH keys, and then connect to the terminal and set it up exactly the same, doing all your firewall, all of that stuff is the same. The only difference is that you pick this machine instead of Ampere for your panel server, and then for the one with wings, which is what actually runs the Minecraft server itself, you're going to set that one up exactly the same as you would, as it says in the video going over how to do that. Okay? So once you've set up both your more powerful and your less powerful server, the ports you need to forward for it are the ports 25565, 80, 443, 2022, so as in that's 2022, all one thing, 22, 5657, 56423, 8080. Those are the ports you need to do, and you'll need to do that on both of them, and then reload your firewall, and you'll need to do it for both of them in the Oracle Cloud website. So, something else you will also need to do is you will need to set up the domain names for your servers. So as you can see here, this is the the DNS records for my domain. So for this I'm using connect as what I will use to connect to the Minecraft server, and I have put it to the port of that server. And then I'm using control for the what the panel will be, and that is forwarded to this port here. Okay, so this IP here. So you'll just need to set that up, and then to check it's working, what you can do is when you connect to PuTTY or whatever it is, you can use the domain instead of the IP to connect, and if it connects and works, you know your everything is going to work just fine. Okay, so now it's time to install both the pterodactyl panel and wings on their respective servers. So this one over here, as you can see, it says up here panel. So in this one, we're going to need to install the panel. So you put this command, which once again, with all my videos, all the commands you're going to need to run, as well as any links you might need to use, will be on the website, which can be found in the description. So run that, and then it'll give you some options. Because this one is panel, we want to install just the panel, so it's 0. If you are installing wings and the panel on one server, then you can just use 2 to install both of them. However, for this one, we're just doing the panel, and then database name, leave that as it is, leave that as it is, type in a password you want to go for, and then at this point, you need to give a time zone. So you're going to want to copy that, go to it, and then it'll give you a list of consonants. You can pick your consonants, and then once in there, you can pick your city, and then paste that in there, and then it'll be able to correctly find your time zone, so that you are all the times appear correctly in the logs, and the times for doing backups and all that kind of thing. So the email address, I'm just going to go with admin@hpcraft.uk. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be a real email. This isn't. If you set up the email server, then obviously it will do. Email address for the initial admin account. So these can be different ones. This is what will be used to configure Let's Encrypt, so any emails that you need about your expiry of your SSL certificates will go to that email. However, this is the basically who runs the panel will be used by this email. So they can be different. I'm just going to go with the same. Username, admin. First name, last name, password, and then the FQDN of this panel. So that's what this what is going to be used to access the panel. And as I said when I was in here, that is going to be control.hpcrafter.uk. Enter. Do you want to automatically configure the firewall? No, we've already done that. Unfortunately, UFW doesn't work. Do you want to automatically configure HTTPS? Yes. And then that will get started on that. And while it's getting started on that, what we can do is we can get started on setting up the setting up wings on the other one. So if we come in here, paste that. Oh, it now wants that. Yep, just yes, I agree. Initial configuration completed. Continue into the installation. Yes. Let's come back over to here. So now we want to install wings on this one. So that's, we say, number 1. Give it a second, and then it'll ask us for, again, some information. Yeah. Do you want to automatically configure UFW? Again, unfortunately, no, we can't. Do you want to configure a user for database host? Say yes. Again, we're not going over databases in this. However, it's good to have one set up in case you decide you want to use it later on. Do you want to configure MySQL? It's just, useful. Into the panel address. So that's the address of your panel. So that's control.hpcrafter.uk. So that's to be able to connect to the panel. Database, leave that. Give it a password. You cannot use blah 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 blah. Do you want to automatically configure HTTPS? Yes, you do. So the FQDN. So that's now what's going to be used to connect to the actual Minecraft server itself. So in this case, that's believe it's connects. Yeah, connects.hpcrafts.uk. Let's press OK on that. I agree that the HTTPS request is formed. Yep. Enter email address for Let's Encrypt. Proceed with the installation. Yes. So now it's going to do all the installations for both of them, and I'll be back once it's finished doing them. Okay, so we're now at the point where it needs interaction again. So do you want to enable sending anonymous telemetry data? That's entirely up to you. I do, because I don't see any reason not to. But again, that's entirely down to personal preference. Do you agree to the terms of service? This one, I mean, you have to say yes. If you don't, then it won't request a certificate and you won't get SSL and it won't all work. So now Wings has been configured, and then again we can say yes to this one. So now that's doing, and give it a second. Perfect. So now that's done. If we copy this and then paste it there, then it takes us to our panel, and we can sign in with our username and password to take us into Pterodactyl. So now we need to do some configuring to link Wings and the panel. So if we go into the admin settings, then locations, create new, and you can call this anything you want. I'm just going to call it node. Create that, and then you can go into nodes, create a new node, call this whatever you want. I'm just going to go with main. You can give it a description if you want, but it's not needed. Location, by default, that's the one we just made as node. Leave this as it is, and then for the FQDN, this is the domain of the node, so basically the domain of where the Minecraft server is actually going to be hosted. So that one's connect.hpcrafter.uk. You want to leave these as they are. If you are using a proxy, such as Cloudflare, then obviously select behind proxy. However, my recommendation is to just turn any proxies and stuff that are available on Cloudflare off, and it'll work a lot easier. But if you are behind a proxy, turn that on, but use SSL. Total memory. This is not the memory that's going to be used in each individual Minecraft server. This is all the memory you can allocate to all your servers. So this is however much your VM has available. So mine is at 18,000. However, because mine doesn't work fully, but if yours works properly, you should just be able to put 24,000 in there, and then you can allocate all of that. I recommend setting it to 0%, but you can set it to more. This is just if you have servers, so many servers that you have allocated up to 18,000 18 gig of RAM, it won't let you then create more servers, so it won't let you allocate more RAM than you actually have. Now the total disk space. By default, you have 47 gigabytes, so I'm going to go with 45 gig just to give a little bit of room to the VM itself. Disk over allocation, I'm going to put -1. Sorry, no, 0. Because then it won't try and create more stuff than it has, and you could end up with disk corruption issues. So that's my recommendation, is just set that to 0 and leave those ports as they are. Then if you click create node, then that's the node created. If you go into configuration, then it's time to link this node to the to Wings. So the way we do that is we generate this token, and then we copy it. Make sure you get the whole thing. Copy. Then you go into Wings and you run it. Then once that has run, then we do sudo wings, and you should see it looks kind of like this. Now if we go back into nodes, that should be a green heart. That's how you know you've done everything up to now correctly and it's all working. If you don't get that green heart at this point, something has gone wrong. Now we press Ctrl C to exit out of there, then we refresh this, you'll notice it's no longer a green heart, which means that we now need to start wings in such a way that when we close putty, it will continue to run. So that's the command to do that. Press enter. Now if I refresh, it's back to being a green heart, which means that everything is working, which is good. So then we now need to configure, because we have an ARM server as opposed to a normal server, we need to change some of the Docker images around so that they will run on ARM. And the way that we do that is we come down here to nests, then click on Minecraft, and then whatever you want to configure, you'll need to do it for. So I'm just going to do a vanilla Minecraft server. Come down here, and then it's these that we need to change. So you can highlight all of those and then delete them. And then you need to go to this page, which will be linked in the description down below. And then you'll need to navigate to this one, Eclipse Temurian, and then get the correct Java version for you. There is a page on my website which goes into which Java version you need depending on which version of Minecraft you are running. However, because we're going with the latest, we were going to go with Java 17. If you want to, you can go for a newer version, but Java 17 is the recommended one. And then we paste that in there. You can leave everything else as it is, scroll down to the bottom and hit save. And then it's time to, then it's time to come into nodes, main, allocation, and then we need to put in the IP address. However, because Oracle is a bit weird, I don't know why, it won't accept the actual IP address. You need to run this command and then paste in this IP address. I have no idea why, but that's the way that it is. Then you can leave the IP alias as it is, and the ports 255.65, because that's what you're going to use to connect to the server. So click submit, and now that's an allocation that has been created. Then we need to go into servers and create a new one. Now you can name this whatever you want. I'm just going to go with, can't spell, vanilla. You can choose a server owner. I'm just going to go with the only one that I've got, but if you had lots of users, you could pick whichever user you want. I'm going to leave the node as it is. If you had several nodes, you could pick whichever one you want there. Default allocation, because I only have one. However, if you had lots of servers running in this node, then you would have a different port, which you put all your different ports in the allocation, and then you would choose which port you want in here. You can select additional so people can join this one server from several different ports. Database limit, so that's the number of databases it's allowed, number of backups, number of allocations. Again, we're not going to do any of that, but I recommend using the backup feature. I've used it before. It's pretty good. It backs up everything you tell it to, but you can limit how many you want, and then once it's made that many, it'll just start deleting the oldest one. CPU limit, if you've got several nodes on one, so you can limit how much. So if you've got several servers, several Minecraft servers on the one actual server, then you can limit how much of the CPU each one can use. Because I've only got this one server, there's no point. But if I had two, I might limit one to say 150% and the other one to 150%. But for this one, just 0. That I'm going to leave as it is because that's more of an advanced thing. We're not going into that. Memory, this is how much this Minecraft server actually has. So the whole thing can use 18 gigabytes. This one, I'm going to give it 8. But you can leave swap as it is. Disk space, as you saw, we had 45,000. So 45 gigabytes. I'm just going to go with 43 gigabytes here just to give a little bit, just to pterodactyl the node itself. And block IO weight, leave that as it is. Nest, Minecraft, or you can go with whatever other thing you're doing. And then the egg is kind of what version of Minecraft. So I want Forge, Paper, we're going to go with Vanilla. And then you'll see over here the Docker image. It's the one that we pasted in earlier. If you don't want to go into Nest and do all that and you're just doing it once, you can paste the Docker image there, but it is kind of just simpler to do it this way. And then you can leave all of this down here as it is and click Create Server. We're almost done. Now if you click this button, then it'll take you to the kind of the access panel for this one. So now it's going to install the Docker container, And then once it's finished doing the Docker container, which it looks like it has, it will then start to install the Minecraft jar. It'll run it, it'll ask you to agree to the EULA, it'll do all of that stuff. As you can see, it's now starting to create the server. If we give it a little bit, accept the EULA, I accept, and then it'll continue to make it, and we can see our network usage and all that stuff starting to go up as it makes the server. Pairing level world. While it's doing that, I'm going to come into Minecraft, add server, connect.hpcrafter.uk, done, and then we wait for it to prepare the spawn. So now it's done that. If I refresh, as you can see, that's from a test run when I was done. But this one is now ready. I can join it, and now I'm in the server. So that's everything set up and done. Obviously, you can access this panel from anywhere in the world, as long as you've got an internet connection. You can share it with other people if you create accounts and then give them this domain name up here. And it's all set up and done now. So, like I said, it is a little bit more involved and harder to do than Puffer Panel, which I showed in a previous video, but it does have a lot more features and is generally better. So I hope that you'll find this useful and helpful, and thank you all very much for watching.